The baseball world is absolutely on fire right now, and what I'm about to reveal is going to blow your mind. Kyle Tucker, one of the most elite players in all of Major League Baseball, is sitting on a decision that could reshape the entire sport as we know it. And the Los Angeles Dodgers aren't just trying to sign another superstar. They're executing a calculated master plan that could establish a dynasty unlike anything we've seen in modern baseball history. This is bigger than just one free agent signing. This is about power, strategy, and a complete transformation of how teams build championship rosters. Right now, at this very moment, Kyle Tucker is weighing two dramatically different paths for his future. One leads to the Toronto Blue Jays and long-term financial security. The other leads to the Los Angeles Dodgers and a chance to cement his legacy as one of the greatest players of his generation while betting on himself in the biggest market in baseball. The tension is absolutely electric, and when this decision finally comes down, the shockwaves will reverberate through every front office in Major League Baseball for years to come. Let me paint the picture of how we got here because the backstory is absolutely crucial to understanding why this moment is so monumentally important. The World Series between the Dodgers and Blue Jays wasn't just another championship series. It was an epic 7-game war that will be replayed as a classic for the next 30 years. The intensity, the drama, the sheer talent on display made it the kind of fall classic that reminds us why we love this sport. Both teams left everything on the field, and when the final out was recorded, baseball fans around the globe knew they had witnessed something special. But here's where things get absolutely insane. Both teams aren't satisfied with just their October glory. They're not content to rest on their laurels and enjoy what they accomplished. No, they're now locked in a winter war that might be even more intense than the championship series itself. ESPN recently published an article suggesting that both the Dodgers and Blue Jays could rule the winter after their epic World Series showdown. And folks, that's not hyperbole or clickbait. This is real. This is happening right now, and Kyle Tucker is the nuclear weapon both teams are fighting desperately to acquire. The insider reports flooding in from every corner of the baseball universe are painting a crystal clear picture. This isn't a sweepstakes with 15 teams anymore. The field has narrowed dramatically over the past few weeks, and according to the latest intelligence coming from sources close to the negotiations, it has essentially come down to two heavyweight franchises battling it out. The Los Angeles Dodgers and the Toronto Blue Jays. That's it. Everyone else has either been priced out of the competition, scared off by the asking price, or simply isn't willing to make the kind of financial and roster commitment that Tucker's camp is demanding. But here's where the psychology of this entire situation gets absolutely fascinating, and this is where you can see the Dodgers' genius strategy on full display. Blake Harris, who has been all over this story from the beginning, dropped a bombshell analysis that reveals the true nature of this standoff. He pointed out something that should make every Dodgers fan lean forward in their seats with anticipation. The Kyle Tucker sweepstakes feel like they've come down to the Blue Jays and the Dodgers at this point. But here's the absolutely critical factor that changes everything. What team out there is going to give Tucker $30 million or more per year other than Toronto? Think about the brilliance of this strategic positioning. The Blue Jays know, they absolutely know with certainty, that the Dodgers are not going to go high-end on years. The Dodgers have established a clear pattern with their recent major signings. They prefer shorter-term deals with massive annual values rather than the traditional long-term contracts that can become albatrosses if a player's performance declines. So here's the beautiful chess move that Harris identified. Why would Toronto outbid themselves? If they know the Dodgers won't go beyond 4 or maybe 5 years maximum, why would the Blue Jays panic and offer 7 or 8 years right out of the gate? This dynamic, this psychological chess match, actually benefits the Dodgers in ways that aren't immediately obvious to casual observers. The Dodgers aren't playing the traditional free agency game. They're not trying to win by offering the longest contract or the biggest total dollar amount. They're playing a completely different game, one they've absolutely mastered over the past several years. While Toronto might be willing to throw $300 million or more at Tucker over 7 or 8 years, the Dodgers are dangling something potentially more attractive to a certain type of player, Short-term massive annual value with the flexibility to hit free agency again while still in his prime. We're talking about the very real possibility of a deal that pays Kyle Tucker $40 to $45 million per year, but only for 3 or 4 years. Now, before you dismiss this as insufficient or not competitive, I need you to think about it from Tucker's perspective. This is where the Dodgers' strategy gets downright brilliant and perhaps a little bit devious. Kyle Tucker and his representatives believe, and probably rightfully so given his production and talent level, that he's worth $400 million. That's the number they have in their heads. That's what they think a player of his caliber, his age, his consistent elite production should command on the open market in today's economic environment. But here's the brutal reality check that's probably keeping Tucker and his agent up at night. Nobody is offering him $400 million. The market has spoken, and that number simply isn't there. We've watched the free agent market develop over the past few weeks and months. Pete Alonso just signed his deal. Kyle Schwarber found his home. Anthony Santander landed a contract. The free agent market is evaporating like morning dew under a hot sun, and with each passing day, with each player who signs elsewhere, Tucker's leverage diminishes ever so slightly. Time is not on his side in this negotiation. So here's where the Dodgers' offer becomes not just attractive, but potentially irresistible for a player with Tucker's mindset and confidence level. If Tucker takes a shorter deal with a massive annual average value, he gets two things that a long-term deal simply cannot provide. First, he gets to prove all the doubters wrong. He gets to show the entire baseball world that he's not just worth $400 million, he's worth even more than that. He can bet on himself, put up monster numbers in a huge market, win championships, and demonstrate that the initial valuation was actually conservative. Second, and this is absolutely crucial to understanding why this strategy makes sense, he gets to hit the free agency market again while he's still firmly in his prime years. Imagine this scenario for a moment. Tucker signs a 4-year deal with the Dodgers at $45 million per year. That's $180 million, which is nothing to sneeze at and would set up his family for generations. But more importantly, he would hit free agency again at 33 years old, potentially coming off multiple World Series championships, playing in the biggest market in baseball, with his brand value and marketability skyrocketing to levels that might not be possible in Toronto. That $400 million deal he wants right now? It could absolutely be waiting for him on the other side of a successful stint with the Dodgers. He'd have the championships, the recognition, the advanced statistics to back up an even bigger contract than what's being discussed right now. It's the ultimate bet on yourself strategy, and for a player of Tucker's caliber and confidence, it might be exactly the right move. The prediction that's gaining the most traction among baseball insiders and people connected to both organizations is beautifully simple and probably devastatingly accurate. If Kyle Tucker is looking for a long-term deal, meaning something in the range of 6, 7, or 8 years, then Toronto is his destination without question. If he wants a short deal with a higher annual average value and the flexibility that comes with it, then obviously the Dodgers win. It really is that straightforward when you strip away all the noise and speculation. But what makes this situation so incredibly tense and fascinating is that Tucker appears to be genuinely torn between these two very different paths. This isn't a case where one offer is clearly superior to the other in every way. Both options have significant merit. Both paths lead to enormous wealth and potentially great success on the field. The question isn't which team is offering more money or a better situation. The question is fundamentally about what Kyle Tucker values more deeply. Does he prioritize long-term security and the guarantee of generational wealth locked in today? Or does he value short-term dominance, the chance to win immediately, and the opportunity to bet on himself hitting an even bigger payday down the road? Now, let's talk about why the Dodgers are so supremely confident they can pull this off, and why their confidence is absolutely justified. Kyle Tucker isn't just a good player, and anyone trying to downplay his abilities or suggest he's not worth this kind of investment is either lying to push a narrative or fundamentally doesn't understand baseball. This is a legitimately elite talent, a top 10 player in all of Major League Baseball, and the statistics prove it beyond any shadow of doubt. Let's dive deep into the numbers because the numbers never lie. and what they reveal about Kyle Tucker's production is absolutely staggering. Starting with weighted runs created plus, which measures how many runs a player creates for their team in a standardized environment that accounts for park factors in league context. Tucker has posted a 143 mark from 2021 until now. To put that in perspective, a score of 100 is exactly league average, so Tucker is producing 43% more offensive value than the average player. Who are the only players ahead of him in this crucial statistic? Vladimir Guerrero Jr., Bryce Harper, Freddie Freeman, Mike Trout, Ronald Acuna Jr., Juan Soto, Yordan Alvarez, Shohei Ohtani, and Aaron Judge. That's it. That's the complete list. Those are the only players who have created more offensive value than Kyle Tucker over the past several seasons. Top 10 in all of baseball, undeniably and indisputably. But maybe you don't trust weighted runs created plus. Maybe you're more of a traditional statistics person. Let's look at on-base plus slugging, one of the most fundamental and respected statistics in baseball that simply combines a player's ability to get on base with their ability to hit for power. Tucker's OPS during this same time frame puts him right there, just barely outside the top 10 by the slimmest of margins. And who's ahead of him? The exact same names, with Corey Seager jumping into the mix. Vladimir Guerrero Jr., Mike Trout, Freddie Freeman, Ronald Acuna Jr., Bryce Harper, Juan Soto, Yordan Alvarez, Shohei Ohtani, and Aaron Judge. Do you see the pattern emerging here? These are the undisputed elite players of baseball, the faces of the sport, the players who define excellence in this generation. And Kyle Tucker is right there with them, producing at the same level year after year. Now let's talk about wins above replacement, the gold standard statistic that attempts to measure a player's total contribution to their team across all aspects of the game, including offense, defense, and base running. Since 2021, Kyle Tucker has accumulated 23.4 wins above replacement. The players ahead of him on this list read like a future Hall of Fame ballot: Mookie Betts, Ronald Acuna Jr., Freddie Freeman, Trea Turner, Jose Ramirez, Francisco Lindor, Juan Soto, Shohei Ohtani, and Aaron Judge. Notice something absolutely incredible here. There are only 5 players who appear on all 3 of these elite statistical lists: Aaron Judge, Shohei Ohtani, Juan Soto, Freddie Freeman, and Kyle Tucker. That's the company he keeps. That's the tier he plays at consistently. These aren't fluky numbers or one exceptional season inflating his career statistics. This is sustained excellence at the absolute highest level of the sport. This isn't a flash-in-the-pan situation either. Tucker's excellence has been remarkably consistent throughout his young career. Over the past 3 or 4 seasons, he's been an all-star multiple times. He's received MVP votes 3 times in his young career, finishing in the top tier of consideration for the sport's most prestigious individual award. He's won the Silver Slugger Award twice, recognizing him as one of the best offensive players at his position. He's got a Gold Glove to his name, proving he's not just an offensive force, but also an elite defender. In 2023, when he was fully healthy and playing his home games in Houston before the trade, he posted a 289 batting average and led the entire league in RBIs with 112. This is not a player you pass on if you have the financial resources to acquire him. This is not a player you lowball with an insulting offer. This is a generational talent entering the prime years of his career, the years when players typically produce their absolute best seasons. The Houston trade that sent him to Toronto didn't diminish his value or his performance. If anything, it motivated him to prove he could excel in any situation, in any uniform, in any park. Even playing through some injury issues this past season, Tucker showed the heart and determination of a true champion. He played hurt because he understood his next contract depended on sustained production, and he still managed to produce at an elite level despite not being at full strength. So when people question whether Kyle Tucker is worth this kind of massive investment, whether he deserves to be paid like a top-tier superstar, the answer based on every conceivable metric should be a resounding yes. The only legitimate question is the structure of the deal and the number of years, not whether he deserves to be compensated as an elite player. Here's where things get truly frightening for the rest of Major League Baseball, and why some executives around the league are genuinely concerned about competitive balance. There's a legitimate non-zero possibility that the Dodgers pull off what would be the most dominant offseason in modern baseball history. They've been connected through various reports to multiple elite players at different positions, and if things break right, if they execute their plan flawlessly, they could end this winter having added the best relief pitcher on the market in Edwin Diaz, the best position player available in Kyle Tucker, and potentially through trade, the best starting pitcher in all of baseball in Tarek Skubal. If that happens, if the Dodgers actually pull off that trifecta of acquisitions, there would be legitimate conversations throughout the sport about competitive balance and whether the current system is sustainable. Some small market owners might push for changes to the collective bargaining agreement. There could even be discussions about whether a work stoppage or lockout might be necessary to address the growing gap between the richest teams and everyone else. Now, before anyone jumps down the Dodgers' throats about buying championships or ruining competitive balance, let's be absolutely clear about something fundamental. They're playing by the rules. They're doing exactly what the current collective bargaining agreement allows them to do. They're not cheating, they're not circumventing the system, they're not doing anything that any other team couldn't theoretically do if they had the financial resources and the willingness to spend them. If other teams don't like watching the Dodgers accumulate elite talent, they have two options. Either lobby to change the rules and implement a hard salary cap like the NFL, or start spending their own money to compete. The Dodgers have brilliant ownership that views the team as a priority rather than just a profit center. They have excellent management and front office personnel who identify talent and structure deals creatively, and they have a willingness to invest in winning that should be celebrated, not criticized. That's not cheating. That's simply called running a successful organization the right way. But let's bring this back to Kyle Tucker and the timeline for his decision, because that's what everyone in baseball is watching right now with intense focus. According to the latest reports from the most connected insiders in the sport, a decision could come at literally any time. The situation is fluid with negotiations ongoing and evolving. Both the Dodgers and Blue Jays are making their final pitches, refining their offers, and trying to understand what will ultimately tip the scales in their favor. Ken Rosenthal and Fabian Ardea, two of the most respected reporters covering the Dodgers, have both reported that the team is indeed seeking a shorter-term, high annual average value contract with Tucker. The deal would potentially include opt-outs that give Tucker flexibility, maybe even one opt-out after just the first season that would allow him to test the market again almost immediately if he has a monster year. This is the Dodgers' signature move, the strategy they've employed successfully with other stars in recent years. Give players flexibility rather than locking them into decade-long commitments that neither side might ultimately want. Pay them handsomely on an annual basis so they're never feeling underpaid relative to their production. And create a situation where everyone wins because the player gets paid elite money while maintaining control over their future, and the team gets elite production without the risk of a terrible contract in the back end. For Tucker, who genuinely believes in his heart that he's worth $400 million and might be right about that valuation, this approach might actually be the smartest play available. If no team is willing to approach that number right now in this particular market, why not take a shorter deal at $45 million per season, prove you're worth even more than that, win a couple of World Series championships with the most talented roster in baseball, and then hit the market again when teams might be more willing to meet or exceed your valuation? It's the ultimate bet on yourself, and for a player of Tucker's caliber, production history, and confidence level, it might be a bet he's absolutely willing to make. He'd be betting that he can stay healthy, that he can produce at an elite level in a big market, that winning championships will enhance his brand, and that the market will be even more favorable in 3 or 4 years than it is right now. Those are all reasonable assumptions for a player of his quality. The psychological warfare aspect of this entire negotiation cannot be overstated. Toronto knows with certainty that the Dodgers won't go long-term beyond maybe 4 or 5 years. The Dodgers know that Toronto can't realistically match their annual average value without committing financial suicide and hamstringing their ability to build around Tucker. Tucker knows that neither team is currently offering what he thinks he's worth in total dollars. It's a three-way standoff where everyone has leverage, but nobody has complete control over the outcome. The team that ultimately wins will be the team that best understands what Kyle Tucker values most deeply in his heart. Is it security and knowing his financial future is locked in regardless of injury or performance decline? Is it winning championships and cementing a legacy as one of the greatest players of his generation? Is it proving people wrong who might doubt his ultimate value? Is it the spotlight and endorsement opportunities of Los Angeles? Is it loyalty to the team he just went to war with in Toronto during that epic World Series? Each of these factors pulls him in a potentially different direction. One factor that absolutely cannot be ignored in this equation is the Dodgers' track record of player development and sustained success. Players who come to Los Angeles tend to get better rather than regressing. They tend to win championships and compete for them every single year. They tend to see their national profiles elevated to heights they might not reach playing elsewhere, even if they put up similar statistics. Freddie Freeman's legacy has been significantly enhanced by his time in Los Angeles. He won a World Series, became even more recognized nationally, and is now viewed as one of the best first basemen of his generation. Mookie Betts became an even bigger superstar after leaving Boston, proving he could excel anywhere and wasn't just a product of Fenway Park. Shohei Ohtani chose the Dodgers for reasons that went beyond just money, because he understood that winning in Los Angeles would cement his legacy in ways that might not happen on a losing team in a smaller market. The culture that has been established in Los Angeles is entirely about excellence, about championships, about cementing your legacy as one of the all-time greats of the sport. If Kyle Tucker signs with the Dodgers, even on a shorter deal that might be less total money than Toronto's offer, he immediately becomes part of one of the most talented rosters ever assembled in baseball history. He'd be hitting in a lineup that already features multiple MVP-caliber players. He'd be playing for a manager who has proven he knows how to win when it matters most. He'd be in a market where his highlights would be on SportsCenter every single night, where casual fans would learn his name, where his brand value would skyrocket. The endorsement opportunities alone, the commercials and appearances and marketing deals available in Los Angeles could potentially make up for any difference in total contract value between a Dodgers deal and a Blue Jays deal. That's not speculation. That's the reality of playing in the second largest media market in North America. On the other hand, Toronto offers something the Dodgers can't quite match in the same way: the chance to be the hero who brings sustained championship success to a franchise and an entire country that's desperate for baseball glory. Tucker already has a connection with that team and that fan base after their incredible World Series run. He knows the players in the clubhouse. He understands the system they're building. He's experienced the energy of Toronto fans who are among the most passionate in baseball. If the Blue Jays are willing to guarantee him $300 million or more over 7 or 8 years, that represents life-changing generational wealth that provides absolute security, not just for Tucker himself, but for his children, his grandchildren, his family for decades to come. That's not a factor to dismiss lightly or treat as unimportant. Financial security at that level changes everything.